it is time to officially close out the Race and Rescue era, one of the most controversial expanded universe series ever. In fact, it probably was, because when Ice Racers came around back in 2015, everyone loved them. And even when the Thomasville Legends came out exclusive to Walmart in like 2018, people were pretty okay with them. And then they started to creep into the main line with the GRCs, but I think overall, we were happy to see the GRCs because they reminded us of the Ice Racers Carbon Carnival Racers. But now we get to 2025, they're still in the main line, they're taking up spots of what we believe could be new releases, and the stuff they're giving us in this expanded universe line is not that great. It feels recycled. It feels unoriginal. Now, some of these I think are really, really great. Others, not so much. And so that is what we're here to do today. We are going to rank all of the characters that Mattel has released in the Race and Rescue / Rally Race Expanded Universe line. So that is going to include the mini racer Rotor Turbosky that they just came out with. I have to be consistent because I included GRC Mater in my ranking last year. There are way more of these than in the GRC video, so we need to get cracking. This is day 8 of the 12 days of Christmas though, so welcome in, happy holidays. The suggesters for this video are as follows. Zav STV with Toy and Game Lection. And then the mighty Liam _4_20. Thank you guys very much for your contributions to this series. I am trying to give as many shoutouts as humanly possible during this season. So if you suggested this or suggested anything and the video gets made, you're probably getting a suggestion. Unless you were a little too late, which I do know someone was for Team Shifty Drug. But we're just going to dive right in. I've reviewed everybody on this table except for Mini Racers Rotor Turbosky, who I will be reviewing in the next few days. That video is already recorded, in fact. I did it because I wanted to include Rotor in this video. We're going to start from the bottom and work our way to the top. And once the car is mentioned, they are going to be put on display and probably not touched for a while. Now, these have been on my table for a long time, so it'll feel good to kind of just not scroll them away, but just put them in their case, their proper location, so they don't get dusty on my table anymore. And yeah, the worst one here, I'm not sure what number this is. That is what my editing skills are going to be for the totality of this series. I'm not sure the exact number we landed on. Was it 18 or something? But Sally is the worst one. And I've been saying it forever. She makes no sense being here. Check out my review of all these, by the way. Links are in the description and card session pop up in the top right-hand corner. These aren't going to be full reviews. Just want to make that 100% clear. But in my full review of Sally, I'm not shy about how I feel about her either. The paint job's fine. I don't love it. I mean, it's pretty bland. You do have the mixed wheels, which is okay. It's one of the only rescue cars besides McQueen that has mixed wheels. Your standard rescue text, your standard logo, but then this roof rack with cones just boggles my mind. Now, it's kind of a callback to Sally with cone and obviously the Cozy Cone Motel. Like, cones are kind of her thing. I get that, but she doesn't need to be here. She's a Porsche. Like, you're spectating this race. I appreciate your concern, but we don't need your help. You'll probably just make things worse. And I'm sorry. I know there are people out there who like her, and I respect that. But for me, she did not need to be in this series. And Sally, as it is already a peg warmer. So I don't think she was that popular of a choice. I don't know. Just does not strike a chord with me. It does so in a bad way, I guess. And so that is Sally for you guys. Now, someone who's kind of aged poorly for me is Sheriff. And I kind of feel bad because I do like elements to him. He reminds me a bit of some of his video game paint jobs, but the gaps in between the decals here in the back, those black lines really, really bother me. And we'll see that with a couple other ones where the decals are just not fluid. There are weird inconsistencies, and that is meaningful to me. I do like the gold Race and Rescue logo. We don't see that in anyone else. So this isn't a bad release per se. Like, I feel like the only one out of all these that I actively despise is Sally. But Sheriff here, yeah, I mean, I like the gold in the wheels. Like, he's still fine, but, and I have to be honest, I'm just going to kind of frame this in a way that the best of this series is far better than anyone else in the series. The bottom is pretty bad. Like, I think everyone is kind of clustered together. No one's much better. The margins here are slim. Like, it was a very difficult decision to decide who's the worst and who's the second worst and who's the third worst. But I ultimately decided on the third worst being Rally Race Cruz Ramirez. I'm not sure the navy blue was a great play. I think it just looks a little clunky. You got the hood painted in the navy blue. Okay. It's not even Dynaco blue. I think she'd look way better if the blue they used was Dynaco. She is sponsored after Dynaco after all. She is sponsored by Dynaco, I should say. I feel like they didn't really know what they wanted to do with her. You have the red 51. So it's basically like they took this logo and then spread those colors throughout. I don't know. I think they could have... It's like they wanted to do something really cool with her, but they were shy about it, and so they just kind of did a half measure with everything. It's like, all right, add some blue elements, add some red. You have the gray wings, some gray. Like, it just... Nothing feels congruous here. Everything is just kind of disparate and doesn't jive, doesn't mesh. So that is why Cruz Ramirez is the third worst in this Expand Universe line. Coming in at fourth worst is Mini Racer's Rotor Turbosky. Now, if they did him as a 155 scale, he'd probably be one of the best because it actually makes sense for Rotor to be in there a lot more than Kathy. But as a mini racer, I don't know. It's hard to compare these anyways. I just am not going to give... a mini racer that I kind of like versus, a 155 scale that's like solid. I feel like I'm going to give the nod to the 155 scale. And that's just kind of where we're at with it. I will, like I said, be reviewing Rotor very soon along with Mini Racers Race and Rescue Red. They both came out in the first wave of 2026 minis. So please tune in a few days for that video. Moving right along here, we're going to go to another Radiator Springs townie in Sarge. Sarge, I will say, has grown on me a little bit. When I first saw him, I was very taken aback. I didn't love the decal spam on his canopy here on the basically convertible part. And I feel like the roof is that just doesn't look good. It's so big. It kind of like taints Sarge's persona and how we really view Sarge as someone who's kind of serious. Sarge does not strike me as someone who's just going to willy-nilly slap decals all over his body. That sounds like something Fillmore would do because Fillmore has done it. So to me, it doesn't really make sense for Sarge to equip himself with just so many decals. Like maybe remove the roof decal. I don't mind the stripes here in the back, but what elevates Sarge from, some of those bottom tier characters we just went over are the accessories. The fire extinguisher is nice and, it's creative in the sense that, they had pick remember Sarge and now just swap out the fuel box for the fire extinguisher. Like, that's kind of cool. I like that. And they also added the supply chest here on the back as well with the Race and Rescue logo. Like, I think that's really good. I like that. You do have the rescue text there instead of his typical number. The expression's pretty good. Yeah, so, Sarge might have grown on me a little bit. Like, probably over the summer, I would have taken Sheriff over Sarge. But the more and more I look at them, Sarge just stands out a little bit more to me. All right, so we're getting a little out of the bottom barrel region. We're still kind of there. Here we have Luigi. Now, Luigi's fine. The flag is a major problem with me, though. Like, I think the decals are great. Like, if you told someone you have to design Race and Rescue Luigi and Guido, this is probably what most people are going to come up with. Like, it wasn't that hard to do. You already have all the decals on hand. It follows the structure that a lot of these other ones follow. Stripes, rescue logo, rescue text. Now, the red rectangle here in the back on the trunk, it's a little out of place, but everything else kind of works. It's just the flag. That looks so cartoony. It looks so like out of a... I don't want to say something that's offensive, but it literally looks like it's out of a really like... Oh, how do I say this without sounding mean? It's just like a super kiddie product. Like, I'm just going to come out with it. Like, something you get your 2-year-old. Like, and yes, you could get your 2-year-old this, but come on. No, these are a little bit higher class, a little bit, they could be for a lot of ages, right? And I think this flag just looks so out of place. Like, okay, you got a caution flag. It's all white. So when have you ever seen a flag that has the same color on the post of the flag and the flag itself? This looks horrible to me. At least you did it double-sided. But I think there's a lot more you could have done here. You could have made the Race and Rescue logo on the flag. I think that would have been better. You could have made the caution logo actually look in line with all the other decals. But to me, it just looks so like Mega Bloks. I don't enjoy looking at it at all. The expression's really good, though. I will give him that, and decals are fine. So that's Luigi there. All right. Next up is Adam Roadriguez. Now, there's nothing offensive with Adam. I just would not have done him myself, especially when we get the book and we see, oh, they actually did do a Ramon. There's a Flo and a Fillmore in the book. And, hey, you could have even done Chick Hicks's Pitties, which, we'll get to. They are in the playset, but Adam just felt like kind of a random release and kind of lazy. It's like, all right, we just released Adam, multiple times for Cars on the Road, and now we're doing this Race and Rescue line, and he just kind of fits the bill. And so they're like, all right, yeah, you can just slot him in. What I would have done is scrap the Sheriff and Adam 2-pack and done Ramon and Flo as a 2-pack, Sheriff as a single. And then we just don't need Adam. Now, that being said, he's very benign. He's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. Like, again, I've mentioned there are some decal inconsistencies on some of these. With Adam, though, everything looks good. Like, it works. You have the blue trim, which I like. Like, you line him up here with red and Mater, and yeah, they look really good. I love the yellow here in the back with the logo. I think that looks really good. I'm trying to give you guys a very holistic measurement on everything here. Like, a lot goes into these rankings. It's not just decals, or it's not just their character. Like, it's everything. So it's like, yeah, I mean, the decals look good, but it's not a character that they really should have done in the series. And we'll get to some other ones like that, but they might have a little bit else going for them. And so that brings us to our next character ranking here, and that is Kathy Copter. Feels very similar to Adam. For me, it's a character that they've done recently. They're comfortable with releasing Kathy. They wanted to include some sort of flying vehicle and helicopter. It makes sense, but not a journalist, reporter helicopter. That does not make sense. Rotor Turbosky, like I said, again, still a little bit of a stretch, but makes more sense than Kathy. You could have done Race and Rescue Chopper, the Rescue Squad Chopper, I should say, from Rescue Squad Mater or something like that. And again, despite not being a character they should have done, I think the design looks really, really good. I love the blue cap and the blue rungs there, the landing gear. I think they really nailed her design. So that's the thing, like Sheriff and Sally and Sarge, like their designs aren't great. I do think like Sheriff and Sarge kind of make more sense to be in the line. That's why Sally's my least favorite. Not only does she not make any sense, her design sucks. Kathy doesn't make much sense, but the paint job kind of rocks. And I feel like she's a pretty cool one to go off on. Case Z with Cal Weathers, like that's a pretty cool combo. And yeah, she's been selling pretty well. Like she's been hard to find. And she is coming back for 2026, so that is a plus. But yeah, that is why Kathy Copter is just above Adam, because I like the design slightly better, but neither character makes a ton of sense. All right, here we have a rally racer, and that is Jackson Storm. There are a couple good things about Jackson. I like the silver that they integrate into him. The Race and Rescue, or the Rally Race logo on the hood here looks really good. Very clean, sterile, and not used on anyone else. His expression, kind of frowny, but looks all right. The colors are solid, but it's hard to make a good Jackson Storm, I would say. I feel like a lot of the Expand Universe Jacksons always kind of fall short. Now, I know I did rank the GRC one pretty high, because I feel like they actually were able to explore a bit with that one and make him look more unique and stand out from the rest of Jackson's. To me, this rally race version is a little bit of a combination of the Thomasville Jackson Storm, the NASCAR Jackson Storm, and then they just changed up a few things. So this seems, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, a lot of this recycled, unoriginal. I do like the wing here being blue with the red flares. Again, the silver looks good. The mixed wheels look good. But there's nothing that really puts him over the edge. He's very average, and yeah, that's reflected in his ranking here. All right, moving on to a similar story here with Danny Swervez. Now, I was expecting I would love Danny Swervez. It's the first time we've seen this character in a while. He has been released, in the NASCAR line, but that's just a metallic version of something we got back in like 2022. And it looked really good on paper. The bright orange looked nice, and yet they kind of botched him. I talk a lot about this in my review of Danny a couple months ago. We don't need the netting in the window. That's a NASCAR thing. This is not a NASCAR release, so I don't know why we have the netting in the window. That was a problem for me. A couple other things I don't love about him either. Obviously the next gen wheels, but that's just something that we've accepted. I think my problem was just like these random floating G's. Like, we know it's octane gain. So the OG, that's fine. OG, that's fine. But you have G. Like, what? What are we doing? At least make one side O and the other side G. At that point, I still wouldn't be overly fond of it, but it would make a little more sense than just gain. I would love to have been in the room as the Mattel designers were working on these, because some of the decisions they made are complete head scratchers. Like, what the hell are you guys doing? Make it make sense to me. Just a floating G. Like, all right, fair enough. But that is why he also is pretty average. But he's definitely helped and aided by the fact that, yeah, the orange looks nice and it's a cool character that we haven't gotten in a while. All right. I have created a list before this. I'm not just going off the top of my head here, just so you guys know. But we've moved on now to Rally Race Lightning McQueen. Now, had he not come out after GRC Lightning McQueen and NASCAR Lightning McQueen, the metallic Radiator Springs NASCAR McQueen they did a couple years ago, he'd probably be higher on this list. But I know what Mattel's capable of when it comes to these expanded universe McQueens, and this one just doesn't really do it for me. I feel it's way less creative than GRC and NASCAR, who I think are some of the best versions of McQueen. And I have to be fair. Like, I just can't give every McQueen high marks. Again, the gray, like that bolt, it's fine. The blue spoiler, it's fine. It's just, the GRC McQueen is leagues above this guy. The design on him, asymmetrical. So you have a completely different set of decals on either side of him. It's using the World Grand Prix Lightning McQueen, which is more innovative in and of itself. This just feels very basic to me. And he butts right up against Race and Rescue Lightning McQueen. Now, why do I have Race and Rescue McQueen higher than Rally Race McQueen? Well, it's more distinct. It's more unique. And I guess you could argue back, well, McQueen, you would probably argue here, it's not, doesn't make sense. Again, he doesn't really belong in a rescue line. But when it comes to McQueen and Mater, they've taken on so many appearances over the last 20 years that we've gotten stuff like this before and we haven't really batted an eye. We've gotten, Deputy Lightning McQueen. Now, again, this is technically real world. When he was Deputy McQueen, it's an actor. But I could see this happening. Again, I don't understand the transition between Rally, like he's a racer and now he's a rescue vehicle. I still don't understand that transition, but I like this design better. I like how you replace the rescue or the 95 with the rescue tax. I like how the yellow looks on him. The mixed wheels look really nice. The light bar is good, and it's different from Deputy McQueen, which is a concern I had early on. I'm not saying he's leagues better, but he definitely pops out more to me than Rally Race McQueen. I think that's evident in the fact that no one's really noticing that, oh yeah, Chick Hicks is in a 2-pack with a different kind of exclusive version of McQueen that we did not get as a single. I just think people are overlooking it because he doesn't really move the needle. You know, we've gotten so many Expand Universe McQueens over the last few years, and I think these two are some of the worst. All right, so those are the McQueens. Now, I did want to give an honorable mention to Dirt Track Race and Rescue McQueen. He doesn't deserve his own spot on this list because it is just a slight variant from the diecast version. This is from that, crisscross playset. But I just wanted to show it out of, spirit of being very thorough in this video. You're missing a lot, though. You don't have the yellow down the sides there, which is a big problem. So that's why, it doesn't really make sense to give him his own spot in this video, but I did want to throw him in there. All right, moving right along here, we're going to go into the Cars 2 realm with Jeff Gorvette. Now, this is another one I had super high hopes for. They did not do Jeff in the GRC series, so it kind of feels like they were making it up to everybody by giving him a bone here in the Rally Race series. But they kind of botched the design. I would have much rather seen him in a GRC paint job than in this Rally Race paint job that, he's the only Cars 2 inclusion in this whole series, so it does feel a little shoehorned in. I know he is an American, so I guess that makes a little bit more sense. And you start off pretty good. The expression's fine. The Corvette logo, I love that. But here you get to the side already, and I have an issue. You have his traditional American flag down the side. This is reckoning back to Cars 2, not Cars 3, where he just has the flames on the side. I think it would have been cooler if you expanded off of the Cars 3 version of Jeff, then gone back to Cars 2 stuff. It made sense with all the Transcontinental Race of Champions series, but it doesn't make much sense now. The World Grand Prix is like 15 years removed, and why are we still recycling those same old decals? So you have the American flag in the back, then you have the American flag shield again, so it's very redundant. And you have the 24 on top. All right, it's fine. The mixed wheels look good. But then here's, again, another decal gaff. You have this yellow here. I know it's like seeping around from the back, but that really should be covered in gray, in my opinion. Maybe even make this entire portion gray. I think that would have looked better. You have the American flag. Do we need that? Do we really need the American flag? I'm as patriotic as it gets, but it just feels like they were copying so much from the World Grand Prix version. This race isn't America. Everyone is representing America. You don't have to have the American flag. I know they just made Jeff Gorvette here, just so patriotic, and it's whatever. I do like the new wing, though. The wing looks good. The red flares look nice. And so, he is toward the top of the list, so I still like him and all that, but definitely, fell short of expectations for me a little bit. All right, moving on to Morgan Martins. One of the other super controversial inclusions in the series because in order to release him, Mattel had to scale him down considerably. For that comparison, again, check out my solo review on Morgan. And I have a problem with that. Him and Red got scaled down from their deluxe sizes to be included in this series. And so I argued a lot, just don't include them then. Don't open yourself up to the criticism by, hey guys, we're doing Morgan, but he's way smaller and now super inaccurate. Just don't even open the door to that. Don't even touch these deluxe characters that you cannot do anymore. Those are done, right? Morgan Martins was a super chase anyways. Don't think many people would have a problem with never seeing him again. But Mattel, again, they're doing this race and rescue line, and they are very committed to the idea of it. So they want, they want their helicopter. They want something that flies. They want their fire truck. They want their tow truck. They got all that easily. Now they want an ambulance. So what could we do here? The rescue squad ambulance is even bigger, so you can't really do that one. Dr. Damage doesn't make much sense. I could have seen them still doing it, but Dr. Damage really doesn't make sense. And so they land on Morgan Martins. And so I get it. I understand it. And, all that being said, they did a good job. If this is how Morgan Martins was released from the beginning of time, I think he'd be number 2 in my ranking. But because of the scaling down, he falls back a few spots. But now that I've aired and vented my thoughts on that. I'll let you guys just enjoy how he looks. He still has the race division 17 that he sported, at the Los Angeles International Speedway. RSQ Medic. So yeah, I think he's really cool. Everything works on him. There are no decal issues. He looks kind of cute now that he's a little chubbier and smaller. But it just does remind us that, yeah, Mattel canceled deluxes. You gotta live with it. But at least we are still getting some of those characters. There's a lot of different angles you could take to look at that. Now, the reason why I have Red ranked slightly above him, they're in the same boat. Both were rescaled, is that Red has been in the scale before. So again, like I just said with Morgan, if he was that size from the beginning of time, it would be better. With Red here, he was this scale from 2006 to 2010. When Cars 2 came along, he got scaled up to a deluxe and had been a deluxe all the way up until this very release. Even when they released him in 2-packs, he was the deluxe size. So this, still is jarring, and I would probably say if he was a full-size deluxe, he would be higher on the list. The scaling down is what is hurting these two characters. But because there's a precedent of Red already being this size, granted, it's a long, long time ago that he was this size, 2010. He's also a Radiator Springs townie, and makes more sense to me to be in this line that takes place in Radiator Springs than a random ambulance from the Florida 500 or the Los Angeles International Speedway at the Piston Cup. Now, maybe McQueen and him generated and cultivated a great relationship after Morgan rushed him to the hospital after he crashed. Maybe. You could headcanon that all you want. But for me, it just makes sense for Red to be in this line. Literally, it's Race and Rescue. It's in Radiator Springs. You kind of have to do Red. You don't have to do Morgan. You don't have to do Kathy, Copter, or Am Roadriguez. All right, moving on from Red, we have Guido, who I think a lot of us agree, might not be one of the best, but he's the cutest. He's got to be the cutest with his little fireman hat. The design's fine. I love the yellow here on the side. There's no text, which I think sometimes clutters things up a little bit. You just have the logo and the stripes, the red trim here. Looks really good. And obviously the hat. I would have liked to seen them use this hat on another character. Like, put this hat on Sally. Maybe it's a little bit better than the roof rack. Put this hat on Sarge. Fire Captain Sarge would kind of be awesome. But they only use this feature on Guido. And so, yeah. That's why I like Guido so much more than I do Luigi, and they were released together. Going into this video, I told myself, we are judging everybody by themselves. Just because they were released together does not mean Luigi has to drag down Guido or Guido has to pull up Luigi. Next up is Cal Weathers. The second best rally racer that they did in this line because the design is better than Danny's, McQueen's, Jeff's, obviously Jackson's and Cruz's. The mixed wheels here really work for me. I love the red. The gray looks good. Putting the Dynaco text in red looks really, really great. And like I said with Cruz, it just didn't seem like they knew what they were doing. You have some red, you have some blue and all that. But with Cal, they committed to this red-blue bit. You have the red trim around the 42 there. It obviously parallels the logo, which is pretty much the exact same logo that we have with Cruz, but the way that they just worked around that is so much worse than with Cal here. Cal's also a character that we haven't gotten in a while. He doesn't always get the privilege of being in these expanded universe lines. What's the last one? XRS Mud Racers? So I think he looks really good. He absolutely makes sense to be in this race. McQueen, Cruz, Jeff, they all kind of fit together. Now Chick Hicks here, we'll get to him, but yeah, I'm a big fan. To me, he stands out above almost everybody else in this line. All right. Who is up next other than Chick Hicks' Pitties? Now, this might be crazy, guys. These are playset pieces at the end of the day. They don't even roll. But the fact that they were brought back, not only in the book, but in a playset and they aren't attached, like affixed to the playsets. You can move them around like this. It's pretty great. You guys might laugh at me. Like, I cannot believe you're putting Pitties basically in the top, the third spot here. But this is some Cars 1 nostalgia for me. Seeing Chick Hicks Pitties with the mustache. Each have their own unique expression. We're just counting them, though, as one. I just love this. And let's just go on with the video, and then you'll understand a little bit more why I put them so high. But number 2 is going to be Mater. Mater has gone through so many appearances, especially since Cars 2, and I do think this is one of the best. And that's also why it just kind of works. We've seen so much of Mater in so many different Materhosen, Dracula Mater, Francesco Fan Mater, Viking Hat Mater, Siphoned Mater. I mean, we've seen Mater in everything. Dinosaur, Caveman Mater. So this is no problem. Like, this is very palatable. Everyone's open to this already. Whereas with some of these other ones, Kathy, Copter, Adam, like I've said, it's like, what? What are we doing? Sally? What are we doing? But with Mater, the precedent has been set. And for a tow truck, it jives with me 100%. Mater gets a little bit of a makeover. I could tell he's excited about it. He'll definitely want to go back to his, dented, rusty self. But for now, he's enjoying it. He's taking full control and acceptance of his job now, his title of being primary rescuer tow truck in this race. And yeah, I mean, I would rather rely on my headcanon than that book anyways. But yeah, this guy looks great. The new towing apparatus in the back here is a major reason why he's so high. The big red hook looks awesome, right? And it works with the Lightning McQueens. Now, I wish it worked with like Cal Weathers or some of these other ones, but at least you can tow both of the Lightning McQueens around. It's really nice. Just a beautiful design. The blue trim throughout, the blue side view mirrors, the blue around the sirens up there, the blue and yellow stripes here in the back. He looks great. He's grown on me, and I liked him even from the start. So, might be a surprise to some, but Mater is my number 2. And that leaves my number 1, who I've never wavered from. I'm pretty sure since day 1 I said Chick Hicks has got to be the best in this line. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it's not even close. Chick Hicks is better than all these by a country mile. When I do my 2025 top 10, which not sure when I'll do that video, pretty sure the only car from this entire series that'll make it into that line is Chick. Mater might sneak in, but Chick will be firmly planted in the top 5. Because I'm not looking at him through the lens of like just race and rescue. I'm looking at him through the lens of like, wow, we finally got a new paint job for Chick. He's finally been welcomed into one of these expanded universe lines after all this time. And they obviously used him to be a little bit of a villain, in the book and all that, and the Pitties and the playset. But the paint job that they settled on for him is fantastic. The blue and the red just looks really, really good. Blue and gray wheels. Former and forever Piston Cup champion. Shut up, Chick. The expression looks really good. There is a variant. The new China version, there is a version with the eyelid kind of over the eye there a little bit more. It kind of hangs down a bit more. But yeah, this guy is just beautiful. One of the best releases Mattel has done in a while. And yeah, I value, Cars 1 nostalgia. So, maybe if this was 40 years from now, Danny Swervez or Jackson Storm, that would carry the same kind of feeling. But with Chick, it's unparalleled. I love him. And here's him with his little dirt track version too. Again, missing some details, but wanted to include for totality of this video. But guys, that is all I have for you for my complete ranking of race and rescue / rally race. I wish they came up with a better name to kind of describe it all, because saying it like that isn't very clean. But yeah, these are some of my favorites right here, guys. In the comments below, let me know who is your favorite race and rescue / rally race release. Can be anybody. It could even be a mini racer like Rotor Turbosky, or hey, I don't even mind if you choose Sally from the mini racers, who arguably could be better than the 155 scale version because they don't try and put a rack of cones on their roof. But guys, really appreciate all your support. Hope you're enjoying the holidays, and I will see you guys soon. Well, I'll see you tomorrow for another day. Bye now.